Thanks a lot for joining us today for the performance of the longitudinal installation. Today marks 100 years since a human first touched the South Pole. To me, it's an important date to mark for two reasons. One, so much about global climate change is studied and happens on that continent. A lot of what science is exploring today is happening through a series of 14 nations in their laboratories in Antarctica. And the first person to take us to the South Pole did so 100 years ago. And so much has changed in this world in these just short 100 years. And if you can just imagine that, the big problem to solve was somehow finding your way to the South Pole at a time that was completely different from where we are today as a planet. And the second reason it's important, it's a longer human history, more than 100 years. 60,000 years ago, our ancestors began migrating out of Africa after spending a lot of time in Africa. Some stayed and others continued going, populating every continent but for Antarctica. They did so responding to climate change. If there was a drought, they wouldn't go in that direction. If the rains happened, then they would hunt and gather towards those directions. And little by little, the slow motion journey populated our planet in response to nature. Antarctica was that last continent, one that we weren't at, but one that in many ways is the proverbial canary in the coal mine that's going to tell us how we are going to respond to nature based on how the very sea levels on the shores right here on Miami Beach are going to rise in response to what we are doing across the globe on that continent. And for that reason, I want us to repeat this installation I created at the South Pole as part of a National Science Foundation fellowship back in 2007, and then again at the North Pole in 2008, because it's a beautiful way of connecting us to one another. These longitudes all converge at the pole, and what I did is I spoke the words that you're going to speak today of 24 people whose lives have been impacted by global climate change. I try to make the point that all of us are interconnected, and what we do here in Miami Beach affects you in Zimbabwe and in Tibet. And if we do bad things, they're going to have bad impacts. There's going to be repercussions. If we do good things, then we can help heal this planet. It's about thinking globally and acting locally. So today, to commemorate this great feat, the first human to get to any pole, actually. So it's the first human that literally stood at the point where every other longitude stood. So in a sense, Adamson and his dogs and men all connected with every human being conceptually at the pole 100 years ago today. And to honor that, I want to now speak the words across 24 time zones of people 100 years later. So thank you for being here with us today to commemorate this. And as part of that conversation, I invite you to give us your quote, the 25th quote. How has global climate change affected you? How has your environment, how has your community changed? What has been different about it? Because I believe that enough testimony, enough individuals explaining how it is that their environment has changed as a group can really be compelling and can really advocate for us to make some important systemic differences. And for all those that are refuting science, having actual testimony from citizens can help support that conversation. So it's important for you to give us your 25th quote, for you to read the other 24 and empathize, understand how we're all interconnected. And at the point that I made at the points where the longitudes converge is a point that you can make in conversations with your friends and colleagues at work, at school, and around the dinner table. So today is an important day, December 14th, 2011, but so is every other day from here on forward as we try to address global climate change concerns. Thank you very much.